94 and 93. And now Indiana and New York will play again now tonight. That series with Indiana with a 3-1 lead, which I think gets us into an interesting conversation on sports. One way, we'll see if we have enough time for it. But first, I wanted to get to this. So the other day, in the playoff game, I saw a video go viral when they were playing in Indianapolis. And that's because Pat McAfee is deeply tied to Indianapolis, having played football there. And so he is like the patron saint now of all things Indy. So they pulled him in for the game. Little hype man on the mic. I get it. That's professional sports now. Makes sense. Play to the crowd. Okay, that's cool. But one of the ways he got everybody all riled up was a little jawing back and forth with some other celebs who happened to be in the house. Yeah, celebrities attending big events there. Yeah, Timothée Chalamet and Ben Stiller courtside next. The media loves it. Fans love it. Eating it up. Taylor Swift goes to a football game and everybody melts down. Now, I can piece the pushback's going to be, well, see, way different. Timothy and Ben Stiller are true to the heart Nick fans. Okay, want me to sell it the way you normally would against you? Think about the fan who could have had the ticket, and if people like Timothée Chalamet didn't want to sit courtside, then all of a sudden every other ticket in the venue wouldn't be. Want to do it that way? So there's that. But to me, it's just, one of the most famous people on the planet is at this thing that everybody's watching, and the television camera goes, you know what? In between some action here, we got this really famous person, and we got this air to fill. I think what we're going to do is point this camera at this famous person. Like, I don't understand. Like, people lost their minds over the Taylor thing. Now, what? Ladies can't become fans of things? Now, guys, come on. Let's not be the exact damn thing you get mad about being accused of. Let's not do that, right? Like, let's not go crazy. So I don't understand them. Now, if you just think it's all just pomp and circumstance and breads and circuses or whatever, people who think they're enlightened, talk about, who feel like, I never enjoy myself in front of a television ever. Breads and circuses. That's because you're a dope, right? Like those idiots. Like, right, okay, fine. Most people are just like, you know what, like, sucks, I'm watching this game. Right, like that's how most people operate, including myself. So I don't understand all of that. Okay, turns out we do have a little bit of time for this. I think we can put an argument to bed now. The NBA is rigged. Sports are rigged. Oklahoma City in Indianapolis, huh? Because that's what it's going to be. And it's because sports isn't rigged. It's because Tyrese Halliburton's pretty good. It turns out dude's pretty good, right? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, turns out he's pretty good. That's what it is. Turns out humans are pretty good. You think this is what the NBA wanted? First of all, if the NBA, do you think this is where these players are? If this is, that's what I'm saying. Is like, I don't understand this stuff. It's rigged until it's not. It's rigged until it's not. And I will always ask this question. So if it's rigged and you knew it, they allow people to gamble on it. I notice the people who think it's rigged and will swear to you they know the outcome before anything. And it's rigged. There's no chance it ends up any other way. It's rigged is what they'll tell you. They never gamble it. You know why? Because they're not sure. They're just yelling things in the air. The Stan Sperry Show. What's up with this guy's voice? It sounds like a monster. On Rock 106.9. We missed National Burger Day yesterday, so we'll take a look at that. I miss those kinds of days because, well, most of them are like today, May 29th, where it is National Alligator Day. You know what I mean? Like, there is International Everest Day today. Climb your own Everest by taking a hike or climb at a local hill. Want to do the real thing? Start training and researching so you can conquer that peak. Everest? Dude, I think most people die at base camp. Like, let's get people on the step machine at 20
I'm just gonna try to the end of the show, sweetheart.
By them, I mean me.
The shelves. Because
I'm so fat right now. Every day. We missed it yet. And I find myself needing to kind of... I had that whole cluttered room, cluttered mind thing. I have a couple of bedrooms in my house, and I live alone, so I have dedicated one of them to an office type desk and that kind of stuff. And then turned into a little bit of a catch-all, where I just started setting, the extra stuff I would get at Costco that's not ready for the fridge yet. All right,
increase the price of that shelf.
Water in, here you go, right? And it just and then I just started putting everything in there. And it was a mess, and it had been driving me nuts. But then by cleaning it, you know what happens. I started moving stuff from one room into the other to clean, and I started moving things around. I was like, wow, you cleaned this room too. Before long, I had the house clean. Loved it. And my problem with keeping a house clean isn't clutter necessarily. Clutter, they normally will tell you, comes from owning too many things. I don't think most people would tell you I own too many things. I'm bad about creating and sticking to a system of where things go.
I forgot to buy the water.
I'm also guilty of, I'm the only one who's going to see it. Tomorrow I'll put it back. You know what I mean? There's somebody coming over. All right, put everything away. You know what I mean? I care about you more than I care about me. It's just kind of one of those things. And by you, I mean the people I would actually let in my home. Right? And, I care about that more than I care about me. But a lot of people suffer with the clutter issue. And I can understand it. My mother was just a little bit more prone not to throw everything away, right? And Marie Kondo is a name I'm willing to bet most of you probably don't know. You have maybe even seen some of her content, though. She gets interviewed all the time on the news channels and the like. I think she had some content on one of the TLC type channels or one of that. I think Netflix has some of her stuff, but she's kind of one of these influencer types. Excuse me. And her entire shtick is that she knows how to clean her house better than you would. And she's, I think she's written a couple of books on this and the like, and so she's back with a new system. And this is to help you decide what it is you need and don't need. And she calls it the poop rule. That sounds kind of gross. It's a word I don't actually like because it just makes me sound like I'm 4 years old. Poop. Anyway. It's simple. Because it's exactly what you think it is. There are things you own.
Love you.
That if you drop it in the toilet, you're going in after. There are things you own.
Careful.
That if your kid poops on it, we got to find a way to save it though. Your turn, boo. Right? That's happening. And there are other things where it's all right, that's what garbage bags are for. And it goes. And her thing is, you need to get a harder, fast rule on that. So start looking at stuff in your house, and if it was covered in poop, do you actually save it? And the issue is that you're asking people who already have a cluttered house to make that decision. I'm saying she's making this too simplistic. Is that you're not fixing the personality trait. If they had the ability to make that decision, they would have already done it. You think the imaginary... This is like telling people who have anxiety, think of everybody in their underwear. If they could, they would be doing it already. You know what I mean? It's like that. If people can make this decision, they would already be making it. There's something, you know what I mean? It's beyond that. You're beyond it. Now, she goes on to say she did it in her house. And what she found is clothes that they hadn't worn in 6 months, board games, puzzles that we didn't play with anymore, or anything that was missing pieces, any decorative item I was holding on to just in case for a future party. Okay, I'm willing to bet most people declutter when you move, right? Here comes the garage sale, yard sale, blah. Okay. If you really went back, this is like snacking. Oh, I didn't eat anything all day. What about the Snickers here and the Twizzlers there and right? It's like this. So my guess is that if you went back to the last time you fully decluttered, which is probably when you moved, and then went into the new home, you ended up buying a lot of the stuff you decluttered, right? Mixing bowl. Damn it! We forgot! What'd you do with the salt shaker? My mother gave me those, you douche! Right, and then all of a sudden now you're in that fight. right? And now that's why you don't know where anything is. Still packed in the back. I think decluttering is how you end up buying more junk. You want a conspiracy theory? Corporations, what they do is, see what these corporations, these slick, evil CEO types, see what they do is they hire this lady, and they get her out there make them throw everything away again. Hey, Marie, make them throw all the stuff they spent too much money on, make them throw it all away again. They'll buy it again because they're dopes. Like, I don't. Here's the thing. I don't know if I'm kidding or not. I honestly don't. I started out, I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm screwing around, and I think I just kind of talked myself into it. That's how crazy I can actually be. But I mean, maybe, right? It always feels like I'm getting hustled somehow. Hey, you don't own enough stuff, come buy this stuff. Hey, you own too much stuff, throw it out. Hey, you don't own, I mean, it's just like, it's again, a dog chasing its tail. But I think it's too simplistic. The clothing thing's interesting because it feels wasteful. It does. It feels very, very wasteful. Now, it's the easiest way to declutter. Okay. Normally, a piece of advice I would give people is, this is 2 birds, 1 stone, right? You should be eBaying the stuff you're looking to declutter. But the problem is that it's in your house until it sells. And you don't really sell anything until you start to sell anything, and you kind of need to stay at it. Unless you're really trying to make it a side hustle, you're really never going to move most of your stuff as an eBay seller. It kind of has to be like a hustle, like a side job that you kind of have for it to take off. But I would normally tell people to try to, 2 birds, 1 stone, make a little extra money, get the stuff out of your house, do the whole thing. That's how Garage Sale started, for crying out loud. Anyway, the donations here. Now, what people are going to say is, well, you donated to those places, and where does it really go? It's like, okay, but if your sole purpose is to get it out of your closet, I mean, at that point, do you really care? The answer is no, because if you did really care, it wouldn't be laying around in your closet not doing anything to begin with, right? So, there's that. So that one is like, well, if you feel like you're never going to wear the thing, and you don't have a cousin or a kid to pass it down or whatever, then, I mean, yeah. And there are, by the way, great charities who will take your clothing donations and make sure that they go where they should be going. And then, there are other people who will tell you that they're taking donations, turn around and hawk it online. That's for sure. And so, maybe a little research on our end. Do your own research, remember? By the way, anytime you suggest people look into things like that, they go, oh, who's got the time for that? Oh, okay. 80,000 pages on the on the Kennedy files, though. Time for 80,000 pages. Come on. Then you got a couple of minutes to figure out where the charity is sending the clothes. I get it. The poop method's too easy. It's just too easy. Because the truth of the matter is you would spend the money on most things again. Because cry as we might about things being expensive, a lot of things we buy cheap enough. You think $500 TVs are cheap enough just to buy another one? So a $20 t-shirt isn't? I just, you know what I mean? I don't buy it. And I honestly, like I said, I started out like I was kidding about her being an absolute conspiracy, that they get her out there convincing you to throw everything away again, but I'm pretty sure I just kind of talked myself into
The Stan Sperry Show.
I just want to say I listen to your show all the time, and I really, really hate you.
On Rock 106.9.
The Olympics on steroids. Next hour, we'll take a look at the enhanced games. And I'm not sure what we're going to find out with that. We'll take a look at it. We had talked to little Marie Kondo. She's back. She's like one of these clean your house expert types. And she's got a bunch of content out there, books and shows and the like. She's got poop. Would you save it? Because some things you would. And so if you would save it, it stays. And if you wouldn't, it goes. Now, the low-hanging fruit here is clearly, I have a 2-year-old. Everything's covered in poop. So am I throwing it all out, Marie? Yeah, right. There's that. I think it's a little too simplistic. Now, there is clothing that if it had fecal matter on it, that I would be like, well, all right, utility tub. We get some, pour some Gain in there. Maybe the old toothbrush I'm not using anymore. Let's figure it out. Something. All right, maybe. most things I'm probably putting in the bag and getting rid of. I don't think that means get rid of it right now. I'm only going to have to buy what it would be again on a lot of things. Now, I'm not a really hold on to things too much kind of guy. I have a junk drawer in my kitchen that's probably got things in it. It's like, what are you holding on to that for? Okay, fair. I have a bunch of my Kiss collection stuff kind of hanging around in the upstairs of my house. That's like the finished room that I don't do anything with. And I haven't organized that yet because, well, let's just wait. Right? And, we'll see. And so there's a little of that. But, like the main living areas of my house, it's not like, geez, this guy, he's got too much. Like, bro, we got too many things in here. I don't own enough things. I'm bad about, having a system in the life. A lot of people are clutter-based. I am a little bit more cluttered room, cluttered mind. And so I don't necessarily, but I don't think you should just be throwing I think all of a sudden you're just going to turn around and buy there's a reason why you bought it in the first place. I think sometimes what happens is you convince, you're not using it, maybe you haven't used it in a week. And you tell yourself, well, then I must not be. But you are. Now, I have clothing that I'm probably never going to put on my body ever again that's hanging up in closets. As a former eBay seller, I kind of have suspended my sales, and it's a grind. I mean, you have to stay at it in order to make any real money at it. And I keep telling myself, oh, I'm going to get that back up and running, and then when I do, I'll have this and I can move on it. But I'm not going to. And then I tell myself, well, my brother does do this. That is one of the things David does every single day. You know what I'll do is I'll just get it all packaged up and I'll send it out to him and be like, here you go. Do your worst with it then. But I won't, So I should just get it boxed up and donate it and move on with it. Maybe I will. Maybe through talking with you about it, maybe that's what I will do. But I worry what's going to happen is that it's just going to be a cycle and you're just going to go out and spend a little bit more money. Now, happiness experts actually say that spending some money on some retail therapy actually does work, depending on what it is. Now, I'm not sure any of this is going to be universal. All right, like they say, making plans in advance is actually a good way for you to retail therapy and give yourself a little bit of a mental health boost. They say booking experiences in advance creates a happiness triple play. You get the anticipation, you get the experience and joy and memory joy of your vacation, and then it delivers the happiness the moment you book it, months before you pack your bags. So they say kind of keep it out there on the horizon, for a while. If you were thinking to yourself, all right, well, we want to go somewhere for Christmas, book it in May. All right, yeah, I could maybe see that. That's not necessarily the kind of person I am. I feel more like Heath Ledger's Joker when Two-Face says to him, "That was your plan," and he says to him, "Look at me. Do I look like a guy with a plan?" You know what I mean? Best line in that whole damn movie. And I feel like that. Look at me. Do I look like a guy with a plan? I'm just kind of doing stuff, right? That's who I am as a person. And I kind of like that. It creates that chaos that I sometimes can drive me crazy, but I do like it. So I'm not sure that's universal. But yes, having something to be excited about, although what if the vacation doesn't go as well? Couldn't I sell the perspective? How do you want to see it? Right? Couldn't the Stansbury of the world tell you, well, what are you going to do? Bro, what are you dumb? You're going to borrow happiness from 6 months from now? What if it sucks? Yeah, they sat around, thought you were going to be happy all this entire time, kicked you in the balls, you didn't, it rained the whole time you were there. Yeah, it sucked. All you got was the happiness that you thought you were going to, yeah, right? Told you, should have thought it was going to suck the whole time, you would have been fine, right? I'm more that guy, right? Yeah, I'm more that guy. They say, all right, the small joy thing. All right? Your brain's pleasure system prefers multiple small hits over a big one, they say. They say the $4 coffee twice weekly, though, will bring you more joy than a $400 splurge. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And here's why. Because corporations have convinced you the $4 coffee isn't a splurge. You deserve it. You should have it. It's coffee. I need it. I'm working, aren't I? I'm a grown-up, aren't I? This is grown-up juice. I need it. Right? They've got you there. That's not a splurge. Imagine, dude, when you tell, as a matter of fact, go tell a 19-year-old that Starbucks is a splurge. Watch as their face crinkles all up and tells you about how you sold out their generation because, you know, you live inside or whatever. Like, watch them. Tell them that. Tell them that's a splurge. They'll throw it in your face. Respect your elders. Those days are gone. That iced coffee's going in your lap, dog. Tell them that. I don't buy that. I don't buy that at all. Real excited. Real excited. But it's like crack, not weed. And this is what I mean. You get high on weed, you're high for a while. You good. Sit here, homie, we's chilling. You know what I mean? Turn on Pulp Fiction, we're fine, right? And you're good. Crack is, got high. Wanna get high again? Let's get high again. Wanna get high again? Let's get high again. From what I've heard. From what I've heard. If movies are to be believed. Quick hits. So, when I spend the $400, that's like me hitting crack pipes. Because at first I'm like, yeah, new driver, love it. And then like, I go to bed that night and I stare at the ceiling like, dude, $400? You're not going to hit that club any better than the last one you had. You're going to put a dent in this one, smacking it on the ground because you can't hit it. And that's the reason you bought this goddamn. What are you doing, you moron? And then I'm just going to hate myself over $400. So to me, like so neither one of them are good. Both of them are taking the money out of my pocket more often than it should be coming out of there and driving me into a financial place I should not be. And I don't really get what I'm after for there. Now this one is going to get tricky because I believe this is 100% good for you. They say experiences. The trip to Cancun actually will do it. I agree. Spending time with the family, doing things like that as, you know, my family's coming into town, and this is what will happen. They're right about this. David and Roxanne are going to be here with my niece. She's already here, as a matter of fact. And we'll do a bunch of stuff together. And then they'll leave, and I'll think to myself, God, I should go there more. They should come here more. We should do this more. But then I won't, right? But I know, but that's how I'm going to feel about it. Because it is worth it. That is what you're supposed to be doing with life. And then they throw in live music here. I'm a strong proponent of this. Both of my jobs that I have had in my adult life, meaning being on the radio and then working as a bartender in live concert venues, has given me insane access, and I mean insane access to live music. And it is good for you. It has kept me too young. Not the way I look. Like you know what I mean? But like, sometimes I got a little too much of that Peter Pan thing in me still. And it's because of the line of work that I've been in a little bit. Too much, right? And it's like because of that kind of access. But the right amount is I think, really good for a person. Because a concert is one of those places, sports will do this too a little bit. And I talk about that. It's unifying. So much is division. Right? This person hates this person, and these two groups don't do this, and this group votes like this, and this person hates this, and red and blue, and Target and Walmart, and Bloods and Crips, and Dems and Repubs, and like whatever. But when they play Everlong, you know what I mean? Now we're all just sitting there, all 30,000 of us, singing along to Everlong.
The Stansberry Show.
You're still going to put your foot in your mouth?
On Rock 106.9.
Welcome back to the Stansberry Show. We'll take a look at the enhanced games next hour here. We were looking at whether or not retail therapy actually does work, and the happiness experts say yes, depending on how you do it. They suggest if you're going to take a trip to book it as early as humanly possible. Give yourself something to look forward to, right? Well, yes, I think goals and, and benchmarks are probably good for people. I think you can set yourself up for a little bit of, disappointment that way, depending on what may happen on that vacation. But I think that's probably more likely about who you are, right? Like, okay, people will say this all the time. There's nothing to do here. And I say, well, is that true? Or is it that no matter where you go, there you are? Because I have been in Las Vegas with people who have said to me, there's nothing to do. I am sorry. What? 3 massive country artists have a residence at those 3 casinos over there. We can get tickets for that. 2 classic rock artists over here. 15 world-class comedians are in town tonight. There's the casinos, there's the Sphere, there's Red Rock, there's Valley of Fire. Would you like to climb a mountain? We can do that here. Would you like to ski? We can do that here. What? There's literally nothing that you want to do that we cannot do in Las Vegas, Nevada. Not one thing. Let's go skydiving, inside or outside. Where do you want to do it? All right, we can go do it. Want to go inside on the strip? We can go. Let's go skydiving inside on the strip. I'll tell you what, I'll meet you there. Nothing to do. Are you kidding me? I've had people tell me that in Los Angeles, in Chicago, in New York. That's ridiculous. In Cleveland, there's plenty to do. There's plenty to do here. What do you enjoy doing, right? So I think retail therapy can work. Now, I disagree with this. They say the $4 coffee twice a week does more for you than the $400 purchase. Well, okay, good luck trying to convince people that they only should have the $4 coffee twice a week, right? So I don't know how to reconcile that one. The coffee argument gets crazy, and I hate talking down to people about it, if I'm honest, because just recently I started spending more money on my coffee at home. Now, I'm a coffee addict. I drink 90% of it here, though, in the building. And I'm not so snobby about it that I'm like, the coffee we have here isn't good enough. I'm bringing in mine. Now, once upon a time I did, and then we reached out to the people, and we have an agreement now. And luckily, the coffee guy who delivers here, he likes me. And so we found a good system for me to, be drinking decent stuff here at work. So I don't normally make it in my house a whole lot Monday through Friday. Saturday and Sunday, I will make up for that, right? And I ended up buying this really nice coffee brand. Lavazza is pretty good. And it is really, really good. And so I spend it's expensive, and I spend a decent money on that, to drink that on the weekend. So I don't like being like the lecturer, you gotta, belt tighten with this. Now, get fired tomorrow. What's the first thing that goes? Well, I don't know if Lavazza would be the very first thing. It's on the list of first things that goes, though. I would then make the concession of like, well, I'm gonna want the coffee, especially if I'm gonna be sitting at home with nothing to do. Like I'm gonna need my drugs, right? Like more than ever. So we're going back to whatever I can get off the shelf, probably store brand at that point. And then if things got real bad, it's like, all right, we're a water household now, right? Like that's kind of, I've done it before, and so I will do that. Now, what my brother would tell you is, you should already be that guy. Meaning, don't buy, because then you don't have to worry when you lose your job. If you weren't buying the Lavazza, if you weren't buying this, if you weren't doing that, then then when this happens, you wouldn't have to worry about it. Well, yes, if I decided then to use that money appropriately and not find another way to spend it, like I just did with the coffee, and again, we get back to personal accountability there. Right? We get back to who I am as a person, who people are when when nobody's looking there at that point. Now, they did say live music is a good retail therapy thing for you. And I want to say yes, and I did say yes. And I believe it is good for you, and that it helps keep you young. At least in that moment it does. And I think that's a good hit for your brain. The problem is that it used to be, even when tickets were expensive, $50, like it used to be a decent mental health boost for your buck. Ticket prices are kind of getting to a place now where it might not offset anymore. Because if you're sitting there at that show and all of what you're thinking is how much money you spent to get there, you're offsetting whatever it is you were supposed to do. Now, AC/DC just played last night. I've had some texts from some people. I didn't go. Now this morning I wish I would have. But I got some texts from some people who went. They loved it. I got a couple of videos from people sent to me. Some listeners sent me some videos, and it looks like it was a great night. They're not talking about ticket prices this morning. I'm guessing they probably thought about it when they paid for them. And that's why I would tell you to buy a ticket early. Like the advice here was book your vacation early. I would buy concert tickets as early as humanly possible because of how much money they are. Well, first, you'll get better access, right? You'll get a better ticket the earlier you buy or the later you buy. That can be a thing now, too. with ticket, third-party sites is what I'm struggling to say there, right? But if you're going to spend the money to see like a band like AC/DC, and you bought the tickets 4 months ago, let's say, and they were let's say $250 a piece, so you spent $500 for you and like whoever you're going with. That's a lot of money. $500. I don't want to spend $500 today. I can, and I wouldn't notice it. I don't want to do it, right? I don't want to do that. So it's a decent amount of money. But if you spent it 4 months ago, and then here comes the day of the show, it's already gone. It's how I feel about gambling. Like, people will tell me all the time, you lost that money. It's like, yeah, but I didn't lose it last night when the game was over. I lost it 2 days before that with the bet. But that's how my crazy brain works. It's exactly how it works. So yeah, I'm spending too much money to go see a show. If I did it months ago, now the night of the show, now all of a sudden I'm not as critical on that.
The Stansberry Show.
I just thought you were a dumb freeloader.
On Rock 106.9.
Apparently the Charlie Woods era. So he's well on his way, Charlie is. You don't normally hear about the whole, right, if you can physically do it. And then, well, that's my thing. It's like, that's why it doesn't bother me that Jack Quaid is an actor. It's like, well, both of his parents were really good actors, and you kind of are who you come from. And so I'm not surprised then if your parent, Dakota Johnson, her dad was pretty talented. Am I surprised she's talented? No. And am I surprised Dakota Johnson is exactly what she is, which is pretty good at her job, probably not as good as her dad, because that's most of the time what happens. Yeah, all right, fair enough. I don't really get the nepotism thing. Like, I don't really get it, right? Anyway, so it looks like Charlie Woods is off to a pretty good start. That's great, right? We talked a little about my love of sports earlier because of the NBA playoffs. And I brought up an interesting point about how nobody seems to care that Timothée Chalamet is, screaming his head off at Knicks games, both at home and on the road. Famous actor and television camera pointing itself at him constantly. If only I had another frame of reference of a famous celebrity that had nothing to do with the game that was being played, but was at it. And wasn't maybe sitting courtside at it, but maybe up in a box away from everybody else, who wasn't maybe trying to make herself a spectacle at it. And yet everybody cried about it. Well, Timothée Chalamet is actually a Knicks fan. Okay. He's dating one of the dudes playing on the field. It's probably all right, Taylor, is at games, right? Yeah, it probably was. And then we also talked about, hey, would you look at this? Because it looks like what we are going to get now with the NBA Finals will be the Indiana Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Is that what you think Adam Silver and the NBA, leadership at the beginning of the year were like, we hope we get this? I doubt it. No Jason Tatum. No Steph. No LeBron. By the way, from what I understand, the ratings of these games have been pretty good without those names. No KD. These big bankable names, they're not around. And apparently the ratings are pretty good. People believe it's because they're swallowing the whistle a little bit and there's more physicality. That could be true. I don't know. I won't claim to know that. But I think it's interesting because the sports are rigged people are quiet. Nobody is suggesting that this is rigged. Nobody. Because why would you rig it for this? Well, Stansberry, don't be an idiot. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander's pretty good. Yeah, but you don't care. He's not Michael Jordan good that now all of a sudden you will care about the Chicago Bulls. He's not that good. He's just pretty good. Same thing with Tyrese Halliburton. Now, both of these guys still got careers ahead of them yet. Although Shea's already 26, whatever. But they got careers ahead of them yet. So who knows what they will be. But either one of those guys win the NBA Finals this year, it's not taking them to LeBron James level. It's not taking them to Steph Curry level. In another 3 months after they win it, it'll be who? For most people, NBA fans know, but for most people, it'll be like, oh yeah, and that guy. most people would remember him in the Ohio market as like, oh yeah, that guy that was pretty good, and that's why the Cavs couldn't win, right? But like, so I don't think the NBA, so where are all the sports are rigged people? Because you're quiet right now. And the reason is because we're about to get a championship series absolutely zero people would have drawn up. Like, zero people. Halliburton's dad, maybe. Him, maybe. And honestly now, I mean, I hate to say it because they beat the Cavs, but I'd almost rather see them win than Oklahoma City. I know, but that's just a personal fan watching the games thing kind of go. That Halliburton story is interesting to me, man. Like, he's just a... But I don't think... Away. You see Joe Flacco? So they got to talking to him about the cramp. Right? Shador and Dylan Gabriel. These guys are rookies. And I don't have access to the audio and the right to play, but I'll paraphrase it. And Joe Flacco kind of basically said this, that you're damned if you do, damned if you don't with the mentor conversation. He's like, because no matter how I answer it, you get to write, then you're over and you're no good and you don't care, you don't have the fire in the belly and you're not competitive and it's over and if he turns around and tells you, I don't want to be a mentor, then all of a sudden, oh, he's not a team player, he's not this, he's not that. And he's right about that too. It is a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation though. I think asking a quarterback to be a mentor, I would like it as a fan. Because what I want is a franchise to be good for a long period of time. That's what I want as a fan. It's what I want. I'm not sure it's a fair expectation. I've seen it in my industry where people knew for sure. I'm training my replacement right now. This is a very competitive industry. Very competitive. May not always look or sound like it anymore. It is. Believe you me. It is competitive, right? And so nobody wants to think of themselves as the person who can't do it anymore. Ever. You can even be realistic and go, well, I probably don't have, as much of my fastball as I once had, but you still think you can play 1,000%. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it. It is a lot to ask. To be the most competitive, to be the alpha of alphas, right? To be one of the most competitive people on the planet, be so competitive that you win out a quarterback room. 32 jobs in the country. But, probably no worldwide agenda on that. But, fine. Anyway. So we want these guys to be so competitive they'll slit each other's throats out to get this job. But then it's right off to the sunset, straw in the mouth, howdy partner. Now I'll pass off the playbook to this young punk who's looking to push me out. Ugh, that's a lot to ask of a guy, man. What he said was this, and I'll have to paraphrase again, but I'm trying to get it as close as I can. He said, there are more than a few times when you're in those rooms where it comes down to experience. And I have more than enough experience. He's like, and so I'll say things. He's like, and hopefully they'll listen. I'm happy to do that, he said. I'm not a mentor. He's like, I'm a football player. I want to play football. He's like, but I have experience, and there are more than enough times in those meeting rooms where experience situations will come up, and I will have things to say. He's like, if they choose to listen, that's great. He's like, but it is not my job to make sure they listen. And you know what? He's 1,000% right. That's Kevin Stefanski's job. Look at me, kid. That guy won a Super Bowl. That guy won a Super Bowl. Shut your mouth. Pay attention when he talks. Listen to everything he says. You might just get better fast.
The Stansberry Show.
Okay, someone woke up on the wrong side of bed this morning.
On Rock 106.9.
Oh, we missed National Burger Day yesterday. We'll circle back, take a look. We will. It's National Alligator Day today, and that's how I missed Burger Day. What I mean is most of the days are that. Hey, it's National Alligator Day. It is? Why might that be? You know what I mean? But we will take a look back at Burger Day. I don't know, I spaced on that one yesterday. We were talking a little sports, NBA playoffs. Joe Flacco was kind of talking about how he's not really a mentor, man. A mentor, like, I'm playing football. You know, I got some knowledge. If I talk, hopefully these guys listen. And he said, look, you hope to have a great relationship with everybody in the room. You know, but it's a competitive situation. So we got to talking about that. We got to talking about the fact that I think the NBA is not rigged because it's looking like it's going to be Indy and Oklahoma City. Now, so the Pacers and Knicks play tonight. If the Knicks come back and win the series being down 3-1 and you get Jalen Brunson and the Knicks versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder, I might change my tune then. I might come in here and be like, all right, guys, we might have to talk about some stuff. Now, here's the thing. I don't want sports to be rigged. I don't. Because of why I like watching. First, I like watching it because I need something to be doing, right? And I damn sure ain't going to go do what they're doing, right? Like, I'm not doing it. So I need something to watch. So I like it. And if I'm going to watch something, Dan Stansbury wants all the man, right? You know, but that's not going to happen. So we need more than one thing, and I'm fine. And I like watching people achieve. Honestly, as we just talked, a little comeback, maybe with the Knicks, it ain't gonna happen. But, I like that in sports. I can't tell you how many times I've been at a game. And if Dustin has been with me. And I said, no, bro, we gotta go. Right? Like, dude, come on, man, we're going. Nah, we're here. And then a team comes back and wins. Next thing you know, you're pounding beers and you're hugging and I love you brothers and all kind of stuff. And you just feel great. You know what I mean? There's that thing, that achievement, and it's fun and it's unifying. Like concerts can kind of do that for you. And I like seeing what people can do. I like being in a ballpark like, dude, did you see that guy make that catch? Dude, at the wall like that. He knew he was going to hit that wall, put the glove up, and still made that catch, man. I like that stuff. I'm into it. Which is hilarious when you think about there were years where I was the kind of person who just kind of trashed on the Olympics. Now, the reason is because, well, the radio kind of needs a guy who's going to trash on the popular thing, right? And so, Stansbury's good at hate and everything. Make him too, right? Michael Phelps, I hope he drowns in the pool. Literally what I said. I remember saying, what did I say about him? I said, you know what? I don't care how fast he can swim. I was like, dude, wake me up when he drowns at the bottom of the pool, right? I was like, when they put all the medals on him and he can't swim after that, I was like, and he drowns with all of them on. Something along those lines, right? And I was just being as disrespectful as I possibly could. But I love the Olympics now. I like the fact that it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, I get up and I'm like, all right, kayaking, bitch, I'm in, right? Like, I like that. I became a Premier League fan like this. Because I kept getting up on the weekend. There was nothing going on in the world except for that. And I was like, wait, guys are competing and stuff at 9 a.m.? I'm in. I like it, right? And I became a fan. Casual at best fan. But I like watching people achieve things. And so I'm going to be watching this too. The enhanced games. Some of the billionaires came together. Peter Thiel put a bunch of money into this, and it's dubbed the Olympics on steroids. Is essentially what it's dubbed, because that's what they're going to allow. You will compete, not you, but people will compete, and you will not be restricted from using the banned substances are not banned. This, of course, will be in Las Vegas, May of next year. I have a sneaking suspicion my family might be able to get me in town May of next year, given only 3 of our birthday months are in that month, and I kind of want to go to this. Performance-enhancing drugs not only allowed, encouraged. It will be held in May of next year, this in Las Vegas. So if you've ever been curious, how much faster, tougher, stronger, how much higher can they jump? Apparently, we're going to get this figured out. They're trying to remove the stigma of using PEDs and to safely push the limits of human athletic performance. Again, nicknamed Olympic Games on steroids. I can't imagine the Olympic Games is going to love that. My guess is get ready for that to be challenged somewhere and for that not to be the official slogan, right? It's what you and I will call, it'll always be the Drake to me, right? It'll be one of those, but I can't imagine that's going to be the official slogan. All right, so they rolled this concept back out, and I remember this in 2023. I remember talking to you about it then. We're going to get 8 different events. You'll get swimming, the 50, 100 meters. You'll get that in freestyle and butterfly. Your track events will be 100-meter sprints and 100 and 110-meter hurdles. Weightlifting, you'll do the snatch. Great movie. Clean and jerk there is what you will do. Quote, we are here to move humanity forward. The old rules didn't just hold back athletes, they held back humanity. Aaron D'Souza, Enhanced Games president and founder, said during a lavish presentation on the stage that at the Strip. Okay, now here's the problem with that statement. It's like, why do we care about athletes using steroids? Is it because we care about the athlete? Not even a little bit. I mean, while they're playing. You care about LaDainian Tomlinson? Who? Thank you. You don't care, right? We don't care. While they're playing, you care. Exactly right. So we don't care about the athlete. Why we care about the steroids is because of the kids. Because your kids want to be these people. And we think that if these people do these drugs, that what we're saying is yeah, if you want to be them, you have to do these too. And I guess on some level you might be. I don't think taking steroids is a good idea. Now, all I base that on is a better than average guess. I don't really know. But I'm guessing that's probably not a great idea. Okay? Why is this where we draw the line on what we care about, what an athlete will wrap its arms around and do and consume when it comes to my children? Meaning, they're allowed to endorse alcohol brands. They're allowed to endorse marijuana brands. They're allowed to endorse all kind of things I don't want my kids involved with. Why are they not allowed to take and use the thing that will make them better and give them longer careers? Now, for some of them, it will give you a shorter career. That can happen too. Pull on yourself as the professional, though, no? I mean, it's a weird place. This is a weird territory. And I'm curious now, how much better are these athletes going to be? Let's say they're only marginally better. Then isn't the argument, well, we don't really need to be taking them? If they're that much better, this is paste coming out of the tube, right? Meaning you'll never be able to look at like I don't want to be like one of these standard sissy athletes, Miles, right? Like, I don't want to get there yet. But you take the point, right? Like, it's like if we see round the bend too far, it's like, oh, geez, there's no going back in athletics now. And if it's only marginally better, then it's like, well, then what have these guys been chasing this for? That's why I don't think it will be just marginally better. Because I think professionals have seen, oh, no. Now, I have heard people have more than enough steroid documentaries I have watched, and there seems to be a sentiment that is universally agreed upon. That more what a steroid does is lengthen your career more than like make you like something you weren't going to be. Like, people kind of talk about, like, Barry Bonds was always going to be Barry Bonds. Like, he was pretty damn good before, like, the head explosion. You know what I mean? Like, that what it does is it lengthens, like the Clemens issue, they say, is where the steroids issue gets tricky. Because it's like, dude, homie would, like, still had it really kind of late, you know? And I could see that. But I'm on the far side of 20 years of my career. And a lot of athletes, what's the average length? 4 years? Now, yes, they make a lot more money than you and I do. But for how long? And again, I'm not trying, let's not cry. Like, I'm not. But do I understand you spent your entire life in pursuit of this thing? Do I understand that the only barrier standing between me and doing this longer is sticking that tiny needle in my ass cheek and I'll be good at this again? Do I understand how to do doing that? 1,000% yes. If there was the needle of that for this, baby, I would have OD'd already.
The Stansberry Show.
This is a group of people who don't know what they're doing. They have completely lost their way.
On Rock 106.9.
On your socials, the Stansberry Show. And yesterday I had posted a Facebook memory, as a matter of fact, from my personal account. 11 years ago yesterday, I had posted, Rock 106.9 in Canton is making an announcement today at 5 o'clock. I wonder what that is. And that, of course, was the announcement that I would be coming here to do mornings. And then the show started on the 4th of the following month, June 4th. And so we're coming up on 11 years, you and I have been here. Right? So I posted that yesterday, and it was weird because I hadn't checked my Facebook memories in forever. I don't really go into my personal account a whole lot. I mean, the Messenger a little bit. But as far as like the personal account, like I don't really navigate through Facebook with that a whole lot. I'm normally with, the show's page and the like. But a friend of mine just got a really good radio job, and she was talking about her Facebook memories. And I was like, oh, God, I haven't looked in there. And it just happened to be, I was like, oh, my God. And I told her, I was like, you know what, I was like, you know what, my memory from 11 years ago was like, they made the announcement. I was like, and the next thing you know, in about a week, I started there. Oh God, that's crazy. You just happened to see that, right? So I kind of talked about it. And then I just went into my Instagram, messaging, the inbox there. And we'll take a little sidetrack here, but, I also work at the Buzzard, and going into the weekend, we did a graduation weekend in MMS. So every hour it was dedicated to a different year. And so, I'm 94, my brother was 87. But a guy had written me this message on Instagram. And he was all mad about stuff. He's like, why are you playing all this gay stuff when you play decent stuff for your year? And if your brother listens to these gay bitches, then he's gay too, right? This guy's all mad about something. And so I posted that in the comments of my post yesterday. And I said, so 11 years ago, and now, we get this. So in there, it was a screenshot, so people could kind of tell that my phone battery was kind of way down, in the red zone, about to die there. And so most of the comments are, charge your phone, charge your phone, charge your phone, charge your phone. And I knew I was going to get that. I don't care, it's fine. But I just started going through and reading the comments this morning. And somebody had said, Jason had said, oh yeah, man, he's got to get on that. I've seen so many people ruin their battery like this. I was like, okay, I don't know if Jason's right or wrong. So I'm curious. I have a research tool right in front of me. I have the internet. Let's find out if this old wives' tale of running your battery down that low, will it reduce the overall life of your battery? So I Google that. I look for that. Does using your phone on 1% ruin your battery life? Now, here's what's interesting about Google, and I don't think enough people are having this conversation. We will probably about a year from now. What happens first when you do a Google search now is what is at the top. You get the Cliff Notes now versus the end result of your search. Meaning you get the AI overview. Who needs the info, dummy? We did all that part for you. Just use this. So far, I can tell you that looking at the AI overview of something I have talked about on the show, and then looking at an article on it, the information has been wildly different. I don't believe the AI overview is reliable. And I mention it because I wanted to see if Jason was right about what he said. Just wanted to see. So the AI overview tells me this. No. Using your phone on 1% battery will not significantly damage your battery life. Modern smartphones with the type of batteries are now equipped with built-in circuitry that manages this charging and discharging process, preventing the battery from being completely drained or overcharged. Oh, here's where it gets real messed up. Is that AI lying? Because Jason found me information online. It says extremely lower. Even when your battery is at 100%, there's still room for some charge. Well, that is true, they say. That's true. Not that you should do it. Having Wi-Fi and Bluetooth on in the background is a big drain on your battery. They say 100%. Yeah, that's true. Using an unofficial charger damages your phone. True, absolutely. Charging your phone through your computer or laptop will damage the battery. False, basically. They say it will charge it slower, but it will not necessarily hurt the battery life overall. Batteries perform
Just ahead, turn right on I-77 north using the right lane.
worse when they're cold. False mostly, they say. All right, you should let
Turn right on I-77 north.
the battery get all the way down to 0% before recharging. This is the closest this article gets to whether or not you should be using your phone on 1% or not. So you should let the battery get all the way down to 0 before charging. Wired says false. Strangely enough, batteries are under the most strain when they're fully charged or completely empty. The real sweet spot for a battery is around 50%.
In 2 miles, take right exit 83 onto Ohio 39.
Now, people would tell you this is the same thing's kind of true about a gas tank. You never really want to see the gas light come on. You kind of want to kind of keep it above that always, and I think a lot of mechanics just went, shut up! But I think that's probably true, right? I've always heard that one, and that sounded like sound logic, and I think you could, what they're saying here is apply that to the phone battery. They say here, movable lithium ions are in lithium cobalt oxide layer, and the other half are in the graphite layer. This equilibrium puts at least the amount of strain on the battery. And so it will extend the number of charge cycles and can withstand before degrading. Now, here's what I find interesting about the cell phone battery. You want to know another conspiracy about one of these? So I think it's an iPhone 15 Pro Max or whatever. And I bought it because my last iPhone kept locking up. And the phone would just shut off. It would lock up and it would shut off and the screen wouldn't respond and it was
To Ohio 39 using the right lane.
When I got into my new cell phone, got it all set up, shine, brand new, working good, humming, fam. There is absolutely nothing wrong with my old cell phone now. I swear to God. I use it. I don't want to.
Take right exit 83 onto Ohio 39, then turn right on North Tuscarawas Avenue.
Admit nightly because of what it might still be knocking around in the bottom drawer of my nightstand for, but I still use that iPhone. And when you know it, it works just fine for that. But before I
Using the right lane, turn right on North Tuscarawas Avenue.
bought this one, the screen wouldn't even turn on.
The Stansberry Show.
Turn left on Davis Road Northwest, then turn left on Davis Road.
I just keep waiting for a lotto ticket out of my boring existence.
On Rock 1069.
On your socials, the Stansberry Show.
Turn left on Davis Road, then pick up on the right.
I laugh because Justin found me there and he said, Stansberry, I don't know what's worse. That I know you have a nightstand iPhone, or if I know exactly where it is. Yeah. I say that all the time, right? That there are things that in the moment I'm like, yeah, fine, say it. And then after I do it, I'm like, what the hell is the matter with me, right? And then all day I have to think, what the hell is the matter with me? And then you're fine with it. You're like, all right, you get over it. It's like, all right, I'm fine. I've been embarrassed through this.